All right. So, starting off, where do you work?
So I work for the DOD. In particular, I work for the Army Acquisitions, um, PEO C3N. Um, this is one of the acquisition arms of the Army. We tend to do, my side of the house tends to do networking. So I'm what I would call a unicorn to the DOD. Um, when I graduated college, I went into private industry first, and I did that for a number of years. Um, COVID, COVID hit, priorities in my life changed, and reevaluated, life balance, and wanted a shorter commute to work if we ever went back in the office. And I put in 100 resumes and job applications to get two interviews. One interview was very technical that I said, I want to withdraw my name. I'm the type of person who wants to do the very best of the job. I'm an engineer. Um, so the next job interview that I'm currently with, I got, um, it was like the roles that I did in my previous jobs, very similar to what I did for the DOD. So I came out running, and I was an all-star instantly, getting um, awards for my work. Um, I in 3 years I got promoted. I went from a what was about a GS 13 to a GS 14 position. Um, we don't have GS per se in the acquisitions. We go on a NH3 I started as, which is a 12-13. Then I got moved to the NH4 non-supervisory, so that was a great bump. Um, so I come at the DoD in a very different eyesight. When I first started, I came in there with the private sector mentality, looking at like, why do we run parallel projects that the Air Force does, the Navy's doing, Marine Corps, which is in combination with the Navy, and then the Army. And, I had a lot of questions like this felt like waste and abuse and fraud, everything, you hear about. But, I got to talking to my peers and they were like, well, you got to think about it. When the Navy's trying to get this device, it's on a ship that's bouncing on the water left and right like that. Air Force, they're in a vehicle going 600 miles per hour, up in the sky. It's got to do something different than what it's going to be needed on a vehicle for the Army or a vehicle for the Marine Corps. So seeing that and understanding those variants and projects, and also it's weird is they do these things like, hey, it's very similar, but it also increases the attack vectors that our enemies have to do on these commercial products that we're trying to get. So yeah, I I could get and understand outsiders coming in, looking into government ways that we do things, and see like this seems fraudulent, wasteful. Why don't you have one unified body? But with our adversaries, they have infinite resources, infinite time. They're looking the ways to penetrate this thing. So it's what keeps our military ahead of all their militaries is that R&D that we do. Um,
So, before we keep going, let me ask you, how long have you been at the DOD?
I've been almost 5 years.
5 years, okay. And you were in the private sector before?
Yeah, I did 14 years in the private sector.
Okay, what were you doing in the private sector?
I was working um, in utilities. Um,
Hmm.
I was more of a project engineer, big projects, big money projects, high value assets, installs, bringing teams together, having collaboration.
Okay. And you said that you were an engineer. What kind of engineer are you?
I'm a computer engineer,
Computer engineer.
0854 series.
Okay. Computer engineer. Okay. Do you have a master's degree?
Yeah, I have a master's.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I got that all while working private sector.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some of the benefits of working for the government was they paid $20,000 on my student loans, which
Mm-hmm.
was a great benefit. Um, I took a pay cut to go work for the government, but
Mm-hmm.
it paid off and paying off student loans faster, get me promoted that I could, make up for the difference I left from private sector to the government.
What was the pay difference between the private sector and
15 grand
15
and
grand?
bonus and bonuses.
Yeah. Okay. So you enjoyed having job stability with the government. You enjoyed having your student loans paid off. Um, what else do you enjoy about working for the government?
The customers. Um, I got to travel in a couple projects around the globe, going to bases, meeting our soldiers. Um, I remember this one instance, going out to Hawaii and talking to a soldier, and he was a new PFC private, and we were just, talking, and I was like, "So where are you from?" He's like, "I'm from Hawaii. I joined to see the world." And they give you three lists of places where you want to go, and he said anywhere but Hawaii, and the Army sent him to Hawaii. So
Well,
that's just
that's such a
pretty much
bummer.
sums up how the Army is.
Wow. So you are an army acquisition. So what does that exactly mean? What do you do?
So I was a lead engineer when I started as lead engineer on projects. So they would have me working with our SATA engineers. A SATA is a system engineer, technical assistant. Most of the Army, most of the government works with contractors to help us do the work because the government cannot sufficiently hire enough people to do all the work. They have to contract out internally to help us engineers who work for the government to do the work. And then a lot of the work that we ask, we go to industry to do the actual work. And it's my job, my SATA engineers, to verify the government is getting what it's asking for. And I've done a number of projects in that role where a position was available as a government task lead. Um, same responsibilities, but bigger, more contractors under me. Actually having government people under me. So I interviewed for it. My resume spoke for itself. I got the job. Um, so when I started with the government, it was still COVID, but it was under Biden, which was great. We were only asked to come in once a week. Then it became twice a week, and then we got settled down at our union. And that was something that was very different from what I had in private sector. Being a government employee, I'm protected under the AFGE union, American Federation of Government Employees Union. Excuse me. So, you know, that's pretty cool. Never had that as an engineer. Usually you don't see that as an engineer professionally, having a union. So
Do you guys
um,
still have a union?
we still have a union.
Okay,
Uh,
that's great.
they they try to strip us away, but our union took us to court. I actually joined this year because of all the turmoil in the government. So,
You are in a union, and the Trump administration is trying to strip unions of all their rights and all their power and everything. Have you guys experienced anything like that?
um, just what's been going through the legal system, the union battles. Um, about once a week, I get an email from my union. Do I read it? No, I don't really have time to do that. Um, wish I could get more involved with it. Um, maybe, become a shop steward. Um, prior to this, I had aspirations on going higher within the government, into a supervisory position to eventually get into SES,
Mm-hmm.
which is our senior leadership
Mm-hmm.
eventually. That's one thing that's really great about working for the DOD is if you get bored, there's so many vast jobs out there and you just continue to move and progress. And if you find something new or interesting that catches your eye, you can just start exploring that into a new job that meets that requirements.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so you were starting during COVID under the Biden administration. You went to the office one time a week, then two times, and now you're in the office every single day?
Every single day.
Wow. Is it difficult for you to commute to the office?
Now, luckily for me, I only live 20 minutes away from our base.
Mm-hmm.
What's difficult is our facilities.
Okay.
So, we have a four-story building in our building,
Mm-hmm.
and I would guesstimate there's probably at least 150 men per floor.
Mm-hmm.
How many bathrooms or bathroom stalls do you think we have on that floor?
I don't know. Hopefully enough.
Four.
Wow.
Two bathrooms with two urinals, two stalls, and they're on opposite ends. So four grand total. So, there's morning rush where people, get their coffee and like you'll start seeing people lined up and you got to play musical floors to get a bathroom.
Wow. These
Yeah.
150 people per floor?
About 150 per floor.
That's crazy. And
And
not enough bathrooms.
not enough bathrooms. And then on top of that, we were then running out of paper towels.
Mm-hmm.
And some stalls have been running out of toilet paper that our cleaning staff can't keep up with sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like third world operations in there for 150 people to go back in there. And then we got some facilities. Our luckily for us, our facilities is probably one of the newer ones on base. On base, we got older facilities where people have to now telework because their bathroom went down.
Uh,
But
well.
they're in different org. We have one incident where part of our building's AC, and this was a very hot summer here in our state. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep it vague to keep it
Mm-hmm.
down, but in our state, we had a very hot summer, and we had sections of the building that the AC just clunked out.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of sending people home, they made them work through that. And some people just said, no, you're going to have to fire me, and just took it on themselves to telework.
Mm-hmm.
But management is so fearful of this executive office that they will not go against those orders of everyone is in the office, where some other organizations on base have taken a lead way with exercise and safety for their employees. But my organization has not done it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's crazy to see that.
Yeah, so you're experiencing some building issues, and your particular agency at the DOD, they're not allowing any exceptions for telework.
So we do have a so we've had a recent town hall, thank God about the town hall, where we brought up those concerns to our leadership. And
Hmm.
our HR person was there, our one-star general was there, and they were like, telework can be approved by your supervisor. It just cannot be a scheduled recurring event. It's a ad hoc when you need it. But our supervisors did not would they're so scared to ask for permission and are so scared to just do it and ask for forgiveness later.
Hmm.
It's like everybody walks on egg cones, on eggs in the whole building, and that management is just scared
Hmm.
to lead.
Hmm.
So
So,
it's frustrating.
yeah, do you think this fear hinders their ability to be effective leaders?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I just seen like a lot of motivation out of all of us. Production's down because we had the first drip, deferred resignation, and I personally had two people in my team who were full-time govies take that.
Hmm.
That work went down to me. I am now doing about three-man job now.
Wow.
So I picked up two additional work areas, two additional SATA people that directly reported to me. They still reported to me when they were dead, but there was a buffer there. And
Hmm.
I would get the information, I could pull it up. Now I'm dealing with directly with them and managing that work. And I'm just at near burnout. And we got another person who left my group who got a lead chief engineer position, and they're divvying up half of that work. So now I'm getting another half a job to me, and I'm barely above water on the two jobs I'm doing now. And now a third is going to be thrown on to me. And I'm just like, and they were like, well, if you need help, we can get you a SATA because it's easier to get a contractor to come in than another government because we're on a freezer. Sorry, I can't talk. We're on a hiring freeze until October.
Hmm.
And I really don't even see them wanting to pull the trigger in October to bring in people. And also, who really wants to come into the government right now?
Hmm.
It's insane.
Hmm. So how many people on your team took the DRP and the Vera?
Two people took the DRP,
Hmm.
none have taken the Vera.
Okay.
And we I got I got another person who's in my group but doesn't work under my section. And he's a boomer. He's a little older.
Hmm.
And he's just like, because the first DRP was a sweet deal they gave our people. Um, they said, hey, if you take it, and they didn't even say this when he first brought it out. They said you get paid until the end of the end of the fiscal year. Well, they sweetened it to you get paid until December.
Hmm.
So they had a lot of people take that.
That's
Um,
different from what I've heard from other people. Other people I heard they were only being paid until September.
yep, and that's our DRP two. They're getting paid into September. The first DRP, some of our people are getting paid till December.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's no rhyme or reason how the government did these DRPs. I'm in shock and awe on how they did it.
So why did you decide not to take the DRP?
I got a kid in college.
Uh-huh.
So I need that steady income. Um, I like to work 20-minute commute to my job. Um, had aspirations, still possibly have aspirations. Just got to survive this 3.5 more years to go.
I don't think there's any surviving doing a three-person job for another 3.5 years. That seems, if you're already feeling the burnout, that seems really unfeasible.
So going to that, we just had a town hall last week, and our one-star general did discuss that. And he's like, hey, I understand we've always gone with the motto, do more with less. And you guys have been killing it. Now we got to reevaluate as leadership of what are our priorities, and those things that are not priority need to come off your list. And that's what our leadership's aiming for. Also, my organization, from my home organization to our child organizations, are going through reorg.
Mm,
So they brought in contractors, which is, we're supposed to be doing all this, saving money, but you're hiring contractors to reorg the whole entire organization, which is
hmm
just bonkers to me.
hmm
So that's why, I'm getting burnt out, but I'm just putting in my 40, putting my head down, and just doing the work I can.
hmm
And what gets done, and what doesn't, I tell my boss, it's on the backfire. I'll get to it when I can.
hmm
And she's like, I'm good with that.
hmm So your boss is understanding that everybody's at their limit with taking on too much work, right?
Yeah,
So they're saying that it's okay if you put stuff to the backside and get to it later. So what happens if you just never get to that work that you put to the side?
doesn't get done.
Just doesn't get done.
Just doesn't get done.
Hmm. Okay, so the DOD is going through a reorg also, so that means that people are getting riffed.
Not yet.
Not yet, but is it
No.
coming?
So for us, they told us they had to, our parent, which is PEOC3N, had to get to a certain number. Apparently, we made that number through the DRPs, the VERAs. We're safe. We got new leadership in our home organization, and they were like, we think we're safe now. We got to the number, but that number's changed. We're going to offer another Vera coming up, another DRP, so we think we're going to be okay. So just hold tight and, continue to do the fine work for our soldiers.
Hmm. Interesting. So because you guys got to that number that was changing, you guys are okay and you're not going to have a riff, or so it seems.
So it seems. And we still have probationary people still on our clock. We didn't get rid of none of our probations on my side of the DOD,
Okay.
which is great. We did have, I got friends all over the base who are in other um, wings of the, well, they're not acquisition, they're part of our C5 community. And um, they got their money gutted for research. It's really a shame. And they got teams of 14 people in groups sitting around doing nothing. And I'm hoping that we can suck them up into our side of acquisitions, because what one thing our people did, our leadership did, was create this new initiative that we're doing. Um, it's about $2.6 billion they got funded for a new command center. So we got all hands on deck that's helping this effort, which all our efforts is going to that. All resources are going to that. Our legacy stuff is kind of like keep it afloat. We're moving to this new system. If you don't have a job with it, find a job with it. That's how you keep your job. And luckily for me, it impacts about 50% of my job. So I feel pretty confident that, and that's what's taken all my focus. And that's, that legacy stuff is still in the back burner. That's not getting done. But those things that have to, keep it going, I'm making sure that gets done. So that's what's the saving grace for me.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So I'm really curious about your job. Do you ever come in contact with Pete Hegseth at all?
No.
No?
The most contact I get with him is seeing his memos, and there's a lot, especially from his undersecretaries, of new changing policies that we're having. Right now, one of the biggest things is travel. We
Hmm.
can't really travel for the job, and what people don't understand, the administration is like not all the work for this job's being done at one base. It's
Hmm.
being done at other bases. We touch soldiers at other bases, and teams. If you are saying teams is good enough for us to communicate with other teams, why can't I just do it at home?
Yeah.
So you're making me come on base, and teams with other teams on other different bases. When you're telling me work face to face is better, but I
Hmm.
can't travel to do face to face communications to do the job.
Yeah. Do you have anybody on your same team in your office?
Yeah, yeah. Half my team is in my office. The other half is in Georgia.
Hmm.
Um, the SATA people, there's no restrictions on their travel, thank goodness. So I can
Hmm.
get them to move. And sometimes they got to be my eyes on the ground. And, a lot of times the work requires that a gov certify the work.
Hmm.
And, we're just cutting corners, and it's just bonkers what we're doing.
Yeah. I mean, that's really interesting that it's necessary for you to travel to be able to do your job effectively. But you have these people who are SATAs and they're contractors, right?
Yeah,
Contractors, and you're essentially asking them to help you out to finish the job because you
yeah,
can't be there.
can't be there. And if it's like very dire that I got to be there, the approval has to go all the way up to a one-star general to approve it.
Hmm.
And how many people in leadership have you ever known want to go to their boss's boss?
Yeah.
They don't even want to go to their boss's boss when we got AC in the building.
Yeah. Yeah. You really don't want things to go up the chain.
No. And you won't give the empowerment to the lower ranks to make those vital decisions.
Hmm. Interesting. So, what do you think of Secretary Hegseth? Do you think he's doing a good job?
If his standards were the same standards as he should be fired.
Yeah.
Um, I have a secret clearance,
Hmm.
and what was leaked in not Telegraph,
Signal.
Signal was fireable right there.
Hmm.
Don't get me wrong, we use Signal a lot in DOD.
Hmm.
I used it a ton of times, but we use it to send messages. Hey, meet at 8:30. That's it. Our
Hmm.
our our secret conversations are in a knock.
Hmm.
Our secret communications is through our zipper,
Hmm.
our secure email, and you're using. and open source technology with other government people who should already know about that. And it's ridiculous. And what's also killing me is like a vendor, I can get $20 of stuff from a vendor, a sandwich, a drink. We got vendors flying senators across the world. We got billionaires flying Congress, excuse me, not Congress, Supreme Court justices around, villas and everything like this. I'm on the bottom of the T-pole of government employees, but if I go over $20, I'm going to get crucified.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good for you, but it's not good for me. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, but I'm not going to do anything to jeopardize my job, jeopardize my integrity. But you see all these public elected officials, can't keep secrets. It's just mind blowing that how standards are so different for government employees to elected officials.
Yeah. And I think that's what the public misconstrues. There's this rhetoric, about how lazy federal workers are, and that's not true.
No, uh, before all of this, do more with less was everybody's in the government's motto. I
Hmm.
got friends who work in the DOJ, got friends who work at Social Security that got let go because they were probationary. Like in the state of Maryland, it's a huge government, U.S. government body that has a lot of indirect government agencies connected to it.
Hmm.
And just being a Marylander, having friends with it, hearing their stories, you know, all of us are doing two, three people jobs at any time.
Hmm.
And you know what? We do it because we do it for our country. We do it, we don't get government pay is not that great compared to the private sector.
Hmm.
And, I don't know where people think government people are getting rich from.
Hmm.
We're doing this because we like the job, we like the benefits of it. You know, I got 100, max flex schedule that I can make up, as long as I can get 40 hours in a week, work four tens, do whatever that. That's awesome. And what kills me is people, I, I I take less money for the assurance of a pension when I retire. That's the greatest benefit. And man, I, if you talk to some of the service people who retire, they do their 20 years. They either become a contractor or they'll buy their time with the government. They keep that time that they served in the military. So if they did 14 years in the military, they could buy that 14 years, get it counted to their government time, do that another six, get another retirement. It's almost it's a complete hustle of money that these people are doing, and I'm like, I'm doing it ass backwards. I went private sector to go government, where I got friends who started with government. It was like, hey, I'm just waiting to get my 20, then I can make some real money in private sector and sell what I know and sell my security clearance, make contacts, and do that. It's just ridiculous. And that's
People do
another
that?
thing. Yes,
Wow.
it's you do 20 years as a soldier, you do another 20. So you go in at 18,
Hmm.
38, you're done the military.
Hmm.
You get a government job, do another 20. You're what? You're 58.
Hmm.
You use those connections. You get a director's job at a Lockheed Martin, Booz Allen, Raytheon. There's an endless list of contractors that want your knowledge. Look at our generals. It's, man, you want to hear crazy. Okay. So in acquisitions, a lot of our people who are green suiters, which are soldiers, will work and then retire as an acquisition specialist, as a green suitor, and they go work for these contractors, Raytheon. Well, they're buddies with these officers. And it's like, hey, I got this new product. You should look at it. I think it's great. It's like, oh, yeah, I already know this guy. I already have this relationship with him. He knows what we need, what our capabilities we need. And to get an inside track or get another contract. And it's just, that's mind blowing alone at seeing this. We're told, hey, look at this product. Why it sucks. Well, this general, who's general friends with this general, wants us to look at it.
Mm.
And we're being told stuff like that.
Hmm.
It's all a game of these people knowing each other, using these relationships to get their contracts, their Lockheed Martins, these Raytheons, bigger contracts who are already huge.
Hmm.
And who's the real crazy thing is these big companies aren't doing innovation really. It's these smaller mom pop shops where this kid that came out of MIT has this AI that's revolutionary that's trying to sell it to the government, but then gets sucked up and Lockheed Martin buys the technology and then sells it to the government.
Hmm.
It's acquisition is just a crazy industry on itself. And
Hmm.
seeing it, I'm like, this should be a crime alone.
So it sounds like there might be a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse in acquisitions.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Some things are crap, but some things are amazing. And some things are really going to help the soldiers.
Hmm.
It's people having the courage to say, this is bullshit. Get my language.
Hmm. You're fine.
If you ever deal with the army people, French is a is just a but some of the stuff is great and some of the stuff is crap.
Hmm.
And some of the stuff we're just forced down our throats is like, why are we filling this piece of crap?
Hmm.
So
Yeah. So did Doge ever come through and like go through your systems, check for their own waste, fraud, and abuse?
we had a memo come through. Um, any contracts over a certain amount, I think it's 10 million, has to get copy to Doge and wait for a response. If we don't get a response in 2 weeks, move forward.
Hmm.
So that's insane to me because like I get an outside view is good, but they don't understand the whole entire holistic problem of it. They just see the little part of the iceberg, but there's when you see an iceberg, you see about 20% of it, but 80% could be at the bottom. And
Hmm.
that's what's going to hurt you the most.
Hmm.
And we need, the experts there, especially with the Army. The Army has a lot of like, old systems, analog systems that need to be converted to digital.
Hmm.
And what sucks is, we got the boomers who are retiring, have that expertise in keeping that old crap going. But we also need the young people, and with us not hiring, and boomers retiring, people dripping, veering, whatever. Talent's just leaving, and talent is the hardest thing, especially when you find engineers. Because if you ever go to an engineering school, you'll find that 90% of your people, well, I wouldn't say 90, probably like 70% are foreigners
Hmm.
who can't get a security clearance because they're not born here, or it's going to be harder for them to get a security clearance.
Hmm.
So it's just tough out here, man.
Yeah. Are you? experiencing any issues with DEI or the list of banned words?
So with, with the army's not POC for shit.
Mm-hmm.
We're respectful to each other, but there's no POC in the army. You got a bunch of just rough people, and like foul language is cracking jokes on each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's like a boys' club.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any
So
female colleagues?
in my group three,
Okay.
yeah, um, black people too.
Mm-hmm.
Majority is white male.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then how has the DEI cuts affected your job?
Really, bringing in new talent. One major thing was National Society of Black Engineers had a career fair, and Nav Air, all the government agencies would be there to recruit. Now we can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I remember when I was, a young person in school, I would go to these events and see them and never got a job with them. But I always knew they were there, and eventually I went there and got a job with them. A lot of my friends who I went to college with got jobs with them and doing well.
Mm-hmm.
So, heck, some are at the Navy Yard. I feel sorry for them because did you ever see the stories about the Navy Yard?
No.
So the Navy Yard's in Washington D.C. and when
I
they
know,
had
I'm
their
I'm familiar with the area. I know
okay,
it. Yeah.
so when they went back, they said come on back, and like they had lines of people. They didn't have enough parking for
Mm.
everybody. They had to
Mm-hmm.
satellite in,
Yeah.
and it was just the worst experience that what happened at my base.
Mm-hmm.
So, we all talk to each other, me and my friends, who are tough, and, we tell our horror stories.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, the ones that went to the Navy Yard, man, is like, hey, I had to use my phone as a hotspot, sit in the car, and telework that way.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And on our base, excuse me, I'm coming off the cold. On our base, we got people sharing desks.
Really?
Um, Yeah, we've had people share a one person desk and be two people in there. One's hooked up through the cat line, the other one's using the Wi-Fi to get on, and our Wi-Fi sucks on base.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it felt like Hunger Games when you go to our job.
Mm-hmm.
So like our base, we had a Burger King over there. It
Mm-hmm.
closed down. They brought in food trucks, but the food trucks only come Monday through Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And like I get coming back to base, I see the micro and macro economics on it. Like all these businesses, started their business, thinking that there's going to be a space full of people. Um, all these customers are coming, dry cleaners, officers getting their stuff dry cleaned, senior leadership getting their stuff cleaned, and everybody working at home. That business dried up.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to stir up the economy somehow. I 100% agree with that. But this 5 days a week, you know, I did more work at home than I do in the office because I have so many people around me. I'm in the cubes. I don't have my own private office. And there's could be three or four or five conference calls happening around me. And I'm hearing that as I'm trying to get ready for my call that I'm about to lead. And, you're hearing this other person in the background. A lot of face-to-face meetings is happening now too, but once again, all our team members are not all at one base.
Mm-hmm.
They're all sporadically in the country. Some of us are on the East Coast, some of us are on the West Coast. So we got to get that. Sometimes we got to deal with Korea, which is 11 hours difference. And we got to
Mm-hmm.
talk to those people. And, sometimes we got to stay late at 7 o'clock at night to get to them at 6 in the morning.
So in that situation, are you allowed to telework or do you still have to be in the office?
So situational. Uh,
Situational. Mm-hmm.
yeah. And, some of us have Gov phones, so we can just use our Gov phone
Mm-hmm.
for doing that. I'm surprised they haven't took that away from us yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just it's not easy being a cubby right now.
Yeah, and even for the DOD, like you would really think on the outside that as a DOD worker that you would be protected, but it sounds like you're experiencing a lot of difficulties.
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Yeah. So I would love to know more about your experiences. Is there anything else that you would like to share?
Um, I, I more have questions like where all this hatred for people who work for the people came from. Like, I get that most jobs don't offer a pension, most jobs don't offer the sick time, the PTO, and those great benefits and that private sector is way different than public sector. 100% agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like even seeing my friends and family members who are red.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a blue state, 100% blue state, and you know it kills me when they say, "Well, I'm sorry this is happening to you. I know you're not one of these gov people that are the lazy ones," and it's like there's lazy people at every job who are just skating by
Mm-hmm.
who, muddy the waters. There's for every one lazy person, there's 10 others killing it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm trying. It's kills me that, people don't see the ramifications of their choices until it hits home. And it just drives me nuts about this whole situation. And I'm so happy that you're doing this series. Like, nobody in the news is touching this because they don't care. It's what bleeds and what Trump says about this, who they fire.
Mm-hmm.
It's someday, someone hopefully hears this interview and understands the life of the government employee at this time. That we're under siege. Um, we're still working hard for the American people, but it's taking a toll and it's having consequences out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I really hope that people do understand that it's not just federal workers that are affected, that this bleeds out. This touches other people. This touches the regular American taxpayer.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So out of everything that Trump has done so far, do you think that there's any positive?
That's a loaded question right there, man, if I ever heard one. Um, Questioning the fraud and abuse, absolutely.
Hmm.
Um, it's about how to go about it the legal way. Um, so talking to, I'm a big history guy. I love talking to Rita about history, and I have a older SATA contractor that works for me, and I was like, "Have you ever seen this?" Because he started under Reagan. He's like, "Yeah, this kind of sort of reminds me of Reagan, but it also reminds me of Bill Clinton because Bill Clinton did the same thing, reorg. the whole government, but he did it the right way, took it to Congress, there's changes and everything. With this guy, he's just taking a sword and just swipe it away. And that sword that he's swiping away, our research and development. I'm an engineer, I'm a bias, but our research and development and our universities is what makes America great to me, our education system. Don't get me wrong. We have ditch diggers that we need fast food workers, but we also need the people who are going to give us this new technologies, the new Google, the new Leo satellites, the new computer, the new graphics card, the new AI. We need those people too. And I get that a lot of people, especially in industry towns, don't have, you know, they're seeing their towns die because manufacturing's gone and we decided to do it cheaper here rather than here. But we also need to empower our people to be prepared for those new jobs of the future because a the industrial revolution, took a lot of jobs away when machines came. The sawmills, the cotton gin, and all that changed a lot of. AI is going to change my job.
Hmm.
That engineers are going to be have to change to adapt, and a lot of people are afraid to change and adapt. And I'm sorry, but our economy's built for to change and adapt, or you will die.
Hmm.
And those red states, pushing back, saying no, well, we want those manufacturing jobs. I'm like, it's cheaper to build it in China, but it's better to design it here and
Hmm.
then get somebody else to do it.
Hmm.
And China's going through its own problems. They're aging out. It's it's critical thinking that I feel like people are missing,
Hmm.
and them attacking universities, Ivy Leagues, international. Like, do how much progress have we gotten from international people? Elon with the electric car, with SpaceX, with satellite, with the founders of Google, a Russian there, the head of Microsoft's an Indian man. You know, we're a country of immigrants that built something great, and you closing the doors, kicking out people that don't look like the majority and alienating them. It's just because you want to stick to a past history. It's the
Hmm.
saddest part.
Yeah.
Or a
Or,
racist ideal.
hmm, absolutely. I 100% agree with you. Oh, it's a lot. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me.